I like this intro.
Hey Ben, you wondering where our intro went?
Yeah, I'm very curious as to where that went.
It's not there.
It's it just gets you looking at the camera, just frantically getting papers on the table.
You know, when you double check every single thing, and then except for the thing that's always there is not there,
Right.
because I accidentally replaced it with something else. Good morning.
That's okay. We don't.
And good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Whatever time you're watching this, my name is Sean, and who are you, Ben?
I'm Ben.
Hey, Ben. I'm Ben.
I am Ben.
That's good enough.
That's for you, Mr. Kyle.
That's for you, Mr. Kyle, his former teacher. Hey, guess what, folks? We only have 3 episodes left, including today. So after today, we only have
2 more.
2 more left. So we're not going to spin the wheel because I already have our 2 special guests lined up. We're going to have 2 special guests to close out the season, and then we will not be having any more until after the first of the year. Why? Because we are going to be getting ready to produce Squirrely Joe's Nut House.
Right.
And Ben, it's really interesting that we're talking about Squirrely Joe today. Or it's interesting because we are talking about Squirrely Joe today because the title of our segment today is Create a Character.
Right.
We are not experts in creating characters, but for 25 years we've been creating characters, and I've learned to love the process of creating characters. And
Absolutely.
I think, Ben, what's interesting is you have become characters.
Oh,
and
man.
when you started in kids ministry with me professionally a few years ago, would you say you had stage fright?
I don't know if I had stage fright or just no intention to do it at all. It didn't seem interesting.
But like you felt really uncomfortable. Like you're like, please don't have. I don't know if I remember the first time you went on stage, you were really nervous.
Very nervous. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I was very nervous. I definitely there was stage fright, but one thing that like the stage fright, I didn't want to do it, but the characters seemed fun. Like I wanted to do something. Like I would see things and I'd be like, man, that would be fun to do.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Right.
know? So it was scary, but yeah.
Right. But when you did it, you just rocked it.
Oh.
And you I think it's because you poured everything into it. So talking about building characters, whether it's for screen, stage, a puppet, an animation. Today we're talking about how to build a character and to give it the best shot. So I figured, what better way to start than let's I want to show the old beach bums.
Yes.
Because the beach bums have changed.
A lot.
They've changed a little bit. So this is from a few years ago. We did a virtual sports camp, and we came up with this idea that Chud, who was an accidental character, he was kind of based off of Kyle from Totally Kyle.
Yes.
The Amanda Show, and a little Keanu Reeves from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Yeah. And then in one of I was performing as Chud as a throwaway character on a game show, and in the monologue, I just said, my friend Dolphin Boy is in the backyard. And one of the other guys that works with us named Akaika, he says, who's Dolphin Boy? And I think I said he's my made-up imaginary friend. Well, then we were like, what does Dolphin Boy look like? And I remember we went on Amazon and found a shark mask. And we're like, what if he wears a shark mask, but he calls himself Dolphin Boy and he wears like swim goggles?
And blue oven mitts.
Yeah. And then it's just morphed from there because Dolphin Boy was originally played by David Vasselchuk. And he still is played by David Vasselchuk. He's the OG Dolphin Boy. But he's been played by 3 other people.
Right.
And one of the people don't like playing as Dolphin Boy, Frank, Pastor Frank. But it's funny because now we say anytime you see a slightly different version of Dolphin Boy, it's because he runs a multi-financial scheme that funds, that raises money for this evil organization called the Sane League, which is just, it just keeps rabbit trailing.
It does.
You know, the more time we spend with these characters. And then we added Brock Lobster, which was funny because I got these lobster claws in the mail, and then you kind of took ownership of that character, and it turned into something super great.
I love it. I think it made lobsters my favorite animal.
I didn't know that. Okay, so I want to show this to kick things off. This is ragtag bunch of characters. We thought it'd be really cool to make them into a band, and so this is just from a few years ago.
Also, wait, hold on, before you play it. Hi, Charles, Christina. Good to see you. Sorry. Somebody
Charles,
in the chat said
Christina.
hello.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's 4 a.m. where Charles, Christina
India.
is. India?
Yeah, from India. Thanks so much
Wow,
for watching.
Thanks for tuning in, Charles. Wow, I got to pay attention to my comments, Ben.
It's okay. I got you.
Okay,
All
good.
right. Let's
Hey,
roll.
next season, season 3, we're going to have everything perfect.
It'll be perfect. Nothing's wrong.
Nothing's ever perfect. All right, this is Beach Bums. Keep in mind when you're watching this was created out of nothing. So just to show that you can create a character out of nothing. Check it out.
Whoa! That's like the most beautiful music I've ever heard. Whoa! I have an idea. Hey guys, I have an idea. Hey guys, I just had a moment of inspiration and we should totally start a band. I could play the guitar and you could play the ukulele, Charlie, and Dolphin Boy, you can totally play the drums. Hey Riptide, yeah, what music instrument do you play?
Something righteous, bro. Something righteous.
Well, get it? Because we're totally driven right now to start a band. In fact, we should call ourselves the Beach Bums. Whoa!
Anyway,
That's awesome.
And then I end up eating dirt, and we end up playing in front of millions of people, and then we don't like how fame went to our head, and so we quit, and then we play for Hootsie, which is a wooden lawn owl on the fence, and we're super stoked.
Right.
You know, if you building characters, they have to come from somewhere.
Yes.
And they have to serve a purpose, even if
Absolutely.
it's complete none-nonsense, right, Ben?
Right. They have to serve a meaningful purpose to you or to something.
Right, right. Because whether you're building a character for your kids in kids' church, really try to make the character true to something in you or something that's important to you. We're going to go through these charts to explain the science of creating characters, but there's no one way or one one avenue or path to take to creating a character. But I say this a lot, and that's keep your eyes and ears and mind open and absorb everything. Like I said, Chud was created from Kyle from Totally Kyle, and Keanu Reeves from Back to the Future. Wow. Nerds everywhere are hating me right now.
Whoa.
From Bill and Ted's.
Yes. That's the same thing, really.
Wow. Let it be known, Ben just said Back to the Future and Bill and Ted are the same thing. It kind of is, actually.
They're pretty much in good ways.
So talking about characters, let's just gonna jump right into this. I came upon this video, and this guy in this video talked about the science of characters. And so he said, and I couldn't agree with him more. He said there's some writers that say a character is good if he's likable or she's likable, and I disagree. He disagrees with this. A good character has to be excellent in one of these three areas: likability, competency, and activity. So likability was described as do people like, and he said, would you want to go to coffee and talk with this person?
Right.
Like hang out with this person, okay?
And it's it's not like if you like the character, it's oh yeah, he's very likable because everybody likes him. No,
Right.
It's in that universe. Think of the context of that character. Do people in that world enjoy being around them?
Right. Like, would you want to get coffee and sit down and talk? Like Darth Vader. Take Darth Vader, for instance.
Right.
He would be a terrible conversationalist.
Oh, terrible.
He's
And also
extremely
even
narcissistic. He's very, very focused on destruction or his will, and so he wouldn't be a fun person to talk to. So he's not very likable. However, he's an awesome character. So the three areas are likability, competency, which means are they really good at something? Are they really good at what they do? And activity, do they contribute to the main story in some way or the other?
Right.
So again, there's no one way here, but let's go through these through these charts here. So as example, Bilbo Baggins, and again, I did not create these. These come from, I'm going to add this video to the description below to give credit where credit is due. But Bilbo Baggins is extremely likable. You could get together and talk and share, have coffee.
Right.
But he's low in competency and low in activity. And before you guys go crazy on me, we're not talking about the Hobbit movies. We're talking about the Lord of the Rings.
Even in the Hobbit movies, though, I feel like the most important thing he did was find a ring in a cave. no offense, he's a fantastic character. Like, everything he did is what led to the next movies.
Would you say that Smeagol was more important than Bilbo Baggins?
Absolutely.
Because of what Smeagol went through to get that ring.
Yes, and what he did and what he contributed to the story. He added conflict.
Right. Is it Smog or Smaug?
Smaug.
Smaug? What do you guys say?
That's like
Smog. Is it Smog or Smaug?
Smog, that's like something in the air when there's too many cars or something.
Is it ketchup or ketchup?
Yeah.
Okay, Sean O'Kelly said he traveled the entire known world.
That's true, but that's just like walking.
He just walked with a stick. And when he got afraid, he put a ring on to turn invisible. Such laziness. I don't like Bilbo Baggins anymore.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Okay, so he didn't contribute in the Lord of the Rings. So let's look at another one here. Batman. People love Batman.
Absolutely.
But is he likable?
No.
I think he'd be terrible at a dinner party.
Absolutely.
Like, he would just sit there and go, I'm Batman. And then he would probably be totally focused on, like, doing research or looking on his phone the whole time, you know? He would get fidgety. He just couldn't sit there. He'd probably smash the table at some point.
Yeah.
But he's extremely competent, and he's obviously highly active. So the guy that talked about this concept, he said that Sherlock Holmes and Batman are in the same category. And it's totally true. Imagine having dinner with Sherlock Holmes. That would be I would feel very stupid. Like, he would make me feel dumb. Like, he'd be examining me and second guessing and telling me what I'm thinking and how I'm doing it, and I don't know. I just don't like that.
Totally.
And then Superman. This one I think is the most interesting, and I'm gonna explain why. Superman is. I'm just gonna say this, so calm down, everyone. I think Superman's a terrible character.
You're not gonna get too much flack there. I think you're right because, like, I think of like the 40s, 30s, or 40s when Superman came out.
Yeah.
Like, he was a symbol of hope for that time, and he was one of the first superheroes. So people were like, "Look at this guy! He can do all this stuff.
He can
crazy.
jump over buildings and fly and all this stuff."
It's like, I can
do
that.
The problem with Superman is it's contained in the two rules, and these are not hard and fast rules. These are just rules to follow if you want a solid character. Rule number one: your character must be good in at least one of these three fields. Good in one of those three fields, then that makes him good. Like, you know, as far as a good quality character. Rule number two: they cannot be good at all three. This is what I can't stand about Superman. He basically is indestructible unless you add kryptonite. Well, but that's an external substance that makes him weak. But in of himself, he's likable. He's friendly. He's got good looks, right? He's got all the muscles and stuff.
Right.
He saves the entire planet. You know.
Yeah.
He's other planets and other bad guys fear him, but he's too perfect.
He's too perfect. And you know what? The best Superman stories that I've seen, like, are, I don't know if you've ever seen the Injustice, like, Superman. The best Supermans are the one where they show how his goodness is not his strong suit. That he's totalitarian.
Like in the new. If you guys haven't seen the new. And if you're watching as a kid, you cannot watch this. But parents, the new Justice League, where it shows a different reality or the glimpse of the future if Lois Lane dies and Superman becomes a bad guy.
Right.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, Superman. It's like the most interesting Superman you can do is one where his like goodness teeters on whether or not something happens. He's not really a good guy.
Right.
Like that's.
But he's very competent. And he definitely has he adds a lot of activity to the story.
Right, yeah.
So when you're creating a character, and this is something I've seen in a lot of, especially when I was a kid, I used to be subjected to a lot of children's ministries videos.
Subjected.
Subjected. Like Salty the Songbook is one of the worst, the absolute worst characters ever created in the history of mankind. And it's like, and then Ratigan the Rat, it's like so blatantly bad. And Salty the Songbook is so pure, like purely good. They don't put any faults into these characters, and I can't stand it.
Yeah.
What if Ratigan actually, had a soft heart and he wasn't blatantly evil. Like, why do they always have to be? You know, it's like doesn't he get depressed at night knowing no one likes him? You know, like that would make him likable. You know what I mean? Even though he's a bad guy. And then Salty the Songbook, all Mr. Perfect, like I have the answers to all life's problems, kids.
Also, I mean, you kind of shot yourself in the foot when you made your character the Bible. You can't give the Bible character flaws.
Right. Thank you. It was not the Bible. He's a hymn book.
Well,
but
that's
still,
true.
it's
True.
songs about worshiping. Like, what are you gonna do? Make him like a kleptomaniac? You know what I mean? Like he's a hymnal book that loves to steal. You know, it's like you created a faulty character and you know it, people.
Well, no, here's the thing. It did reach some kids.
People love to hate the bad guy.
That's true. That's a good point.
They do love to hate the bad guy. But even then, to make the character interesting, you have to almost have the bad guy be someone you would like to hang out with.
Sometimes, yeah.
You know, it's true.
Or look up to, or like they're like a
This
symbol
is
of
something
authority.
really interesting. Alfred Hitchcock did this when he made I don't remember the name of the movie, but there's a movie where it's involving a train and train tracks, and there's a guy in a white suit and a guy in a black suit. Okay, the guy in the black suit was the good guy, and the guy in the white suit was the bad guy, and he did that to throw everything off because everyone assumes that white is okay. People,
Well,
I'm gonna get in trouble with the whole color thing.
Think of all
I'm
the
not
old
talking
spaghetti
about
westerns.
skin color. I'm talking about
Of course,
Western.
no.
You know,
Think of like spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
It's always the cowboy that wears like that's like the black leathers
Right.
and stuff like that.
So what he did was he had this is the interesting thing. He had the bad guy walk from I have to do this backwards. Okay, he had the bad guy walk from the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen, and he had the good guy walk from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. And the reason he did that is because when people read a book, they read it like this.
That's smart.
And when no one reads a book, what am I doing? Like this, right? And it's off. It has a sense of feeling off. Mm-hmm. And people don't realize it. And he did that to make the bad guy seem, even though he's dressed in all white clothes and look, nice and stuff, he did that to throw people off. And I love that kind of those little details put into characters.
Absolutely.
So make one, if you're going to create a character, give your character flaws. And I can honestly say all of our characters, which I believe most of our characters are based in nonsense, but there are redeeming qualities. Like Hootsie actually does speak wisdom. Or characters draw the best or worst out of other characters. Like Caleb and I, we draw the best and the worst out of each other.
Yes.
Not worst as in a terrible thing, but like, the worst qualities or the best qualities.
Right.
So speaking of a little bit of that, I want to show there's a character we came up with called Billy. And this really came from whenever I think of a kid in school who's just a bad kid, like this kid just breaks all the rules. He doesn't like all the if you're a teacher, pack all the traits from your worst student into one kid.
Now, yes,
like all of the worst traits of a student, pack them into one kid.
But
not evil, like not vindictive or evil. Just I would say obnoxious traits.
Yes.
Like I have to go to the bathroom,
every
or
5 seconds.
They're not every 5 seconds, or constantly interrupting, that kind of stuff. So I would just make whatever. And so Caleb and I came up with this skit called History Lessons with Caleb Sanders, where I would always play the part of this obnoxious character, and then that mantle was passed on to you, Ben.
Yep. Oh, I love it.
And so, Ben, let's do, this is really off the cuff here, but let's give him an example. So you're the teacher, and I know I'm asking a bit of you, but I want you to look into the camera and play the part of the teacher, and I will play the part of Billy. Okay?
Okay. So. All right, class, today I need you to turn to page 27 in your textbooks. We are going to be discussing the history...
Hi! Hey, how's it going?
Oh!
Hey, how's it going? I was a little late to class, sorry.
I need you to pay attention! Please sit down!
Oh, first, before I sit down, I should introduce myself. Hi, I'm Billy.
Oh, thank you. Now, please, sit down, Billy.
Okay, hey, before I sit down, I need to turn the rest of the class and tell them, hey, I'm Billy. Nice to meet you. Hey, what's your name? Are you?
Billy!
Is your first name Teacher, or do you actually have a name?
Please sit down. We must teach.
Okay, I'll sit down because you said sit down.
Yeah, and then at this point, there would usually be some like firecracker going off in my face.
Yeah, I would sit there and listen for just a second and just go. like obviously not listening, and then go like this and go. Well, you would say, "What do you want?" And I would say, "Yeah, I have to go to the bathroom." You know. And so, anyways, we took this character to camp, and the crazy part is, all the rest of the days at camp, all the kids kept calling me Billy, like, "Hi, I'm Billy. Hi, I'm Billy. Hi, I'm Billy." And it's like, why does this resonate so much with kids? I think it's because the whole teacher-student relationship, kids understand that.
Right.
And when you're Billy and the kids see Billy in action, that almost releases the tension for them because they know what it's like to experience those kinds of kids, or maybe they are those kind of kids. And it like allows them to laugh at it, you know, like, or to like, it's all okay. Hey, Frank, we love you too, man. Frank, in fact, if anyone wants to know about characters, I think Frank has the most amount of puppets that I've ever met in my life, and he comes up with some great characters. Love it. Chef Wee Wee is one of my favorites, and he has a monster puppet that I love. All right, so I'm going to show you guys. This is from Camp TV, and the interesting thing about this is I was playing the room inspection, Sean, and I also had to play this part of Billy. So take a look, see what you guys think.
Ooh, it's very purpley. Erica, I thought that these rooms were supposed to be empty before we inspect them.
Right.
Obviously, someone is sleeping in this bed. We're going to uncover the victim. Perpetrator.
Filmmaking.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Billy. I'm like in this bed.
Why is he in a prison jumpsuit?
I'm like... That felt better. I'm just going to take this pillow and let it absorb all that air because... That... Whoa! Hi, I'm Billy.
Room inspection.
What's funny is the kids that were there at camp said, "Hey, Caleb," my pal Caleb, who usually does room inspections with me, was not there that camp. Very sad, but Erica did a good job. And Ashley, hey Ashley, nice to see you. Ashley serves in our kids ministry, and she does an awesome job.
Hi, Ashley.
But the funny part about that, Ben, is the kid whose bed that was, and that was his pillow. You could hear him go, "That's my pillow." But you know, the thing that I hope you guys are starting to pick up on is it's not just science that builds characters; it's heart and passion. And I believe the best characters come out of like a heart passion piece. And sometimes you create a character that some people don't like.
Right.
And we've created, I think, Ben, we must have created. You're welcome, Ashley. We must have created 30 characters, 40 characters over the years.
Yes.
Like total, like even ones that are like we've only done once.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now called Walt Disney, an American original. And I want to read this part because you're going to create characters that kids don't like, and that doesn't mean you give up on the character. It just means you refine it, or you keep working at it, and then you come to find out, if you stick with it long enough, that kids will actually, you'll actually find out some kids love certain characters and other kids love other characters. And you think about it, and the reason I'm going to read Walt Disney is Walt Disney's created hundreds, if not 1,000 characters, right? And I don't personally like all the characters. Like I would not say I'm a fan of Minnie Mouse. What about you, Ben?
No.
Like what? Like, do you have a favorite Disney character?
I'm trying to think.
I like Donald Duck. Honestly, I think he's one of my core Disney characters. He's one of my favorites.
I don't really like. I never watched that. I never watched those.
Okay.
Disney was my thing.
Well, here's the interesting thing, for those of you in kids ministry. Wow, I always get hiccups on this show. An interesting factotum. If you don't know what a factotum is, then watch School of Rock. But an interesting factotum is Disney is founded on characters. The entire company is founded on a mouse and a duck and a dog and others and on and on. It's not founded on a theme. It's founded on characters. And then they take those characters and created lands. And so Walt created a Donald Duck character, and he was married to a lady named Lily, and she actually would get into disagreements with him about his ideas. And his brother Roy would often disagree about the same thing. So I'll start here. It says, Walt proved himself right at times, and that made the triumph more pleasurable. "Lily," he said admiringly, "you're the only person I can count on never to yes me. In other words, he had people saying, "Oh, that's great, that's great, that's great," but she would go, "Eh, yeah, yeah." Although she had been afraid that Snow White would cost too much, she loved the film itself. She also loved Fantasia and Bambi, cared less for Pinocchio.
Me too.
She didn't like Donald Duck at all,
Ooh.
especially his voice. But she admitted that she adored Mickey Mouse because there's so much Walt in him. So it's interesting that she did not like Donald Duck at all, but that Donald Duck's a staple character, and I would say there's some kids that don't like Donald Duck.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to talk about this in just a second. I want to finish the character creation portion, and Ben, you're going to speak into that.
Okay.
But Squirrely Joe is our core character, like our absolute core character. That is like he is the core. He's like this on the SpongeBob. He is like SpongeBob. Everything else in the show, kind of all the friends revolve, all the origin stories that we've come up with for our characters. It all leads to Squirrely Joe. And so there's kids, though, that don't care for Squirrely Joe. Like, they don't like him. And at first it was hard for me because I'm like, I want them to like him. Part of it was that there were some annoying things I did with the character that I've learned to adapt and adjust over time, which we're going to look at in here in a little bit. But really it had to do with his looks. Kids were kind of put off by his hair and his crazy eyebrows and stuff. Frank, real quick, said, like Reporter Harry, I think he's referencing when we first started doing Reporter Harry, none of the kids responded. Like, they just, like, it was dead silent. Like, and the kids would even say, "Stop saying hey, you said hey already a bunch of times." Hi, 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 you know? And I remember telling Caleb, we're going to stick with this character. And after, like, the 5th time of doing the character, the kids started going like, "Reporter Harry!" You know? And there's still kids that don't respond to that character, but they respond to Billy or, you know, whatever. So, all right, Ben.
All right.
You play a lot of video games.
Games, yes.
Games.
I'm
I'm going to bury my head in a chart.
Okay. Oh, yes. This is
I
that
did
part.
that.
Okay.
Buried my head in it.
So I do, on top of a lot of games, there's a lot of stuff I do when I'm, like, in my free time. I love, like, writing fantasy stories. And it's not stuff that's good. It's very, like, I put a bunch of squares and I write some cool things in it, and I just like it. I like going into the details of things and figuring out what things are, writing characters, and all that kind of stuff. So I found a bunch of resources that really help me, and it's like these. This is like an alignment chart. It's something that cartoonists use it, video games use it a lot.
Okay.
But going through, these are different building, like, you know, the chart with the 3,
Yes.
What were the categories again? It was
likability. It was activity. And it was how good they are at stuff.
That's good. Right. Now, those are like ratings. They're not necessarily, like, they're a good place to start. Like, I need a likable character, but you need to build the character. You need to have, like, their ideals and all that kind of stuff. So we have, like, right here, true neutral, a true neutral character, or we'll start top left.
Okay.
This is weirdly made.
That's okay.
Okay, so we'll start. So true neutral. So that's starting right in the middle. A character that is true neutral is somebody that they don't really ride morality wise, like, up or down.
Right.
They're it's what it says. They're neutral. They're predictable to a way. They have their own set of rules that they follow. So.
Are these hard characters to like?
True neutral? Yes. Yeah. I feel like true neutral is like a character that is a background character. You're not going to get much.
Right.
They're
not going to make a decision either way. They're kind of like a riding the fence kind of guy.
Right. Lawful neutral as well is also, like, they do have good intentions, but their actions kind of vary. It's interesting there. But if we go to, like, lawful, let's see. I'm sorry, this is, so we have neutral good, chaotic good. A chaotic good is somebody that follows morality to the extreme. Like the laws of the land. I would say RoboCop.
Okay.
Judge Dredd.
Okay, like they're like, there's no bending the rules whatsoever.
There is no bending the rules. They're great characters, but they are hyper justice. I mean, you think of Judge Dredd. You know, he walks in and he just dishes out destruction, all in the name of justice.
I feel like kids think of their teachers as that.
Yeah, some teachers, you can, like, he had a good law at, like, the deficit of everything else.
Like, I think kids look at their teachers and go, "You like having fun?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Neutral good is like a balance. That's like a good, like a decent police officer. Like they follow they follow, like, think of like a cop show police officer. Like like they follow the laws, they enforce the laws, but they also are they're more reserved on it. It's not like who they are. The law is not who they are, but they do have good intentions. Lawful good is Superman. Superman is lawful good because he is the best of intentions, causing the least amount of harm, but also enforcing good morality, and that's genuinely what's like accepted.
Right. It's almost like you have to ignore the middle ones because I think they mislabeled some of those.
They
it's supposed
do.
to be lawful on the left, chaotic on the right, and then you have good and evil up and down.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then if we're gonna go to like lawful evil, that is your typical James Bond villain, a very methodical type of guy.
Like they're a bad guy that has standards.
Yes, a bad guy, like a high class.
Where would you put the Joker at?
Chaotic evil.
Chaotic evil.
Yeah.
Okay. Where would you put Batman?
Batman, chaotic good.
Chaotic good.
Yes.
Because he's chaos, but he follows standards.
Right. He goes above the law.
Okay.
Some people have said that he's chaotic neutral, but in order to be chaotic neutral is really interesting. Okay. That is the one middle one. That is you strictly follow your own rule set.
Okay.
It doesn't really.
So,
morality does not influence it.
Okay, so let me ask you this: you're Brock Lobster in the
Yes.
Beach Bums, which is the new keyboard player.
Right.
You don't speak. Where would you put Brock Lobster on the scale?
Honestly, considering how he's more of a background character, he'd be like neutral, true neutral probably. He's very neutral.
Is there a chaotic neutral?
He's not very chaotic. There is a chaotic neutral, but there's more personality with chaotic neutral.
Like he'll go good, he'll go bad. He's just kind of neutral right in the middle.
Right, he kind of just messes around. Now what I'm saying are like aggressive,
right?
Like character trans. But you can put these in things like, what would a chaotic evil nuthouse character look like? Obviously, they wouldn't be running around blowing things up.
Well, we have one character that is that we haven't revealed yet, and I will tell you, his name is Professor Lucinda Sprocket, and he is lawful. I would say lawful evil, but you said chaotic.
Chaotic, yeah. That means that.
Okay, I can tell you.
Yes.
Francis the Cat.
Francis
the Reporter Harry's cat. Francis the Cat is what's called chaotic evil.
Yes.
Evil not isn't demonic, but evil is in super bad guy.
Right, like think
so
of it.
Selfish, narcissistic,
yes.
and chaos, bringer of chaos.
Right now, like in putting it in kids things, that when it comes to like with kids, like that's like Francis is always attacking the face of the person on the screen,
right?
Making angry cat noises, like jumping, trying to drive cars, like
right.
That's chaotic evil when it comes to this. This isn't like Joker, like
so
crazy.
Do you think that when a lot of times the temptation, especially when sharing the gospel, when you create a character that's good, there's a temptation to make the character all good. Like even as humans, like even if it's not a puppet, like I have to put on my best face.
Yes.
I have to say all the best things and I have to talk about the difficult things, but I'll never show it because I've never walked through it. You know, right. I think people relate to stress and they relate to hardship. Yeah,
and you know, like when you're making a character, everything that we're doing here are great building blocks. You need these things, and you also need to have a reason why. It has to you, it's if you want to have fun with a character, you want to know why. You want to learn your character. Like you want to think of, well, how would he react in this kind of scenario? What would they do here? And honestly, to me, that's my favorite part. It's like, what would this guy do in this time, in this part?
Well, like, and I love this because there's rules. There's a guidebook to creating characters, and I love that you showed that because there's different facets to good and bad, and there's chaos and and lawful, and there's good, there's bad, and there's a mix of all that. And I think that it's a bad thing to create a character that doesn't have any flaws, but also is like appears perfect because they're an unrelatable character, and so. I think that, I think a lot of people would say our characters are mostly chaotic, Right. But there's definitely like good and I would say evil, good and bad.
Yeah.
And some of them have rules and some of them don't.
Right.
But like what it means by rules is like the lawful rules. Like there's like they follow a code of conduct. But I want to say our characters, all of them have a rule book.
Yes.
Like, for instance, Reporter Harry, when I get into Reporter Harry, like when we're planning to do a skit and we're writing okay, we know Reporter Harry's going to be in it. But there's certain things that can never happen. Like Reporter Harry can never tell another person to do something on the stage. Reporter Harry has never given a command in his life. Like Reporter Harry, like for instance, Ben, go back to being the teacher.
Okay.
Or be a chaotic character. Just be a chaotically evil character, and I'm Reporter Harry. Okay. So say or do something. Set the scene for me.
Okay. I'm going to set the gas station on fire.
Hi everybody, this just in. This is a gas station, and it's gonna get lit on fire.
Okay, he's not going to come up and say that's not a good idea. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's
he's not. Weird. He's not going to do that because it would totally. It feels terrible to even like have him say that.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, but you have a rule book, your own personal rule. Once you've established your character can grow over time. But there should be a box that he never. And I don't like the way this sounds, but there should be a box that should never be. A wall that should never be broken.
I think of like when I see you and Caleb on screen, you kind of when you're using and you're exercising your character, you got to have a reason to do things.
Right.
Like Caleb doesn't the whole thing is Caleb's always irritated at Sean.
Right.
That's his character. Like Sean is always irritating Caleb.
But we've never established that he's not annoyed by me. He's just bothered by what I do.
Yes.
And that's really important because if he ever got mad at me and left, that would be really bad.
Right. And also, but like the reason Caleb doesn't come out of the bat being like Sean, stop it. Like you don't just sit there and then he's just like, oh, Sean, like, and he's angry at everything you do. There's a reason. He's not angry until there's a reason for him to be righteously angry for say.
In the last episode of Camp TV that we produced, I bring out the magic beans and Caleb just goes, you know what? I don't care anymore. I don't care. He eats the beans. He normally wouldn't have eaten the beans, but he goes, I don't care anymore. He eats the beans and he just goes, I just don't care. I give up. We finally broke his brain, Frank
funny.
said, make a character have realistic characteristics so that kids will second guess if it's real or not.
That's really good. I like that.
It's all based on real. If the characters lives in you, then it's a real character. That's why kids will say he's fake. No, he's real. Also, I don't say he's a real person. He's a real character.
Yeah, and you know what a really good exercise for this is? I feel like I'm not saying by any. I'm not like a character professional.
Right.
But this stuff is so much fun for me. I love learning about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just go through characters and just like figure them out. Like use these charts. Use the the alignment chart. Use the bar graph that we saw, the likability, et cetera,
absolutely.
Et cetera. And then just go through, and I find it fun to try to. And then there's debates to be had, like there's arguments between them.
Like the Superman argument. I think we do this all the time. I don't think we realize how much we do it, but we do it all the time when we talk about putting our skits together.
Yes.
What makes them funny is when you have a contrast of characters.
Yes.
If you have all chaos characters on, and we've done this, we've made this mistake of putting all chaos on the stage.
Dojo Dorks.
Or the Dojo Dorks. But even then, Caleb is the neutral. That holds the thing together. But when or Master Sensei, I would say is the neutral, the total neutral. But if you put all chaos characters on the stage, it just really feels off and it feels like out of control.
Yeah. But
when you one time when I was playing the Pensai, the Dojo Dork, and Caleb and Renell were not there, and I end up hurting a Kaika with my nunchucks. I end up hurting myself, and when I told Renell about it, I was on the phone. She goes, "Oh, let me guess. No one stopped Pensai."
Like, all you said was, "Hey, Renell, we did Dojo Dorks today," and I think her response was, "Oh no."
Yeah, because they weren't there to stop. So this character literally has to have someone stop. Because if I were to try to self-manage, then I'm no longer Pensai.
Right.
Because he has no governor in his body, in his mind. He's 100% until he's physically restrained and like a wind-up toy winds down.
Right.
Right? And so you have to stick to this. No matter what, you have to stick to it. You have to stay in character. So I want to show you guys, and we're going to kind of wrap this up here, but we tried our hardest to find the original. There's an old video with Squirrely Joe. Back then his name was Squirrel Boy. I'm going to show you guys a commercial we made for Heinz. You may have seen this before, but and it's the first, I would say, quasi real appearance of Squirrely Joe back when he was an action figure. Take a look.
One day I was going to school. That's me. When all of a sudden a volcano erupted and a missile came out and blew up Champy's Mini Mart. That's my friend Billy.
There he is.
There he is.
That's Squirrely Joe right there, right on an old horse. And by the way, for those of you watching, that's Ben in the back of the school bus, and that's Ben's voice.
Yep.
It's a pony. We also got chased by federal agents from the planet Zarton, but our bus driver shot them with a Gatling gun. We would have got to school, but a dinosaur dressed like Abe Lincoln.
Ben, are you doing your homework? So that's the first. Now, Squirrely Joe doesn't talk in there. I have a really hard time going back and watching old segments with Squirrely Joe because he. By the way, we don't have someone kidnapped in the back room. That's Magnus back
What?
there. He's playing Switch. People
Yeah,
are gonna be
that's what
is there a
everybody was
kid
thinking."
back there? Like, what's going on there? Got off track. Our characters, they evolve, and they should. I go back and look at old Squirrely Joe stuff. I would say Squirrely Joe is the most important character that I've ever created, and I'm honestly still a little afraid to perform as him because I don't want to mess him up. Yeah. And so I go back and look at old footage, and I have went through years and years of modifications with this character. At first, he was very hyper, and it's like, you know,
Too hyper.
like, and it was just annoying. What?
I know you're gonna hate it. I need you to like. People know what Squirrely Joe sounds like now, but what was his voice like when you made those? When you with the blue background and the action figure?
He was like like that, and it was just like
That's what
I
he
found
talked
myself like grating my own ears, like what is he doing? And then I went through. So I'm going to show this clip real quick, and so you'll see old Squirrely Joe, and just know this is hard for me to watch. Okay.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Such a beautiful picture. It's like a bunch of butterflies exploded. Now, if we turn this picture upside down, it looks like Mr. Hootsy. Woohoo! Mr. Hootsy. I'm gonna get my camera.
I can totally tell it's you. Like,
Rolling. Ah! No, my camera. Help! Help me! Somebody help me! Help me! Oh, help me! Professor Spiggly! Help me!
Okay, so you can totally tell it's my voice. I mean, I think you always can, but like, the thing I hate about it is when I was doing that character, and it's still hard for me to this day, is that when you're Squirrely Joe, your mind is all over the place. He's a squirrel, and a lot of times I would talk with I would have him say what he's doing. And, oh no, I broke my camera. Well, I think it's just obvious that he just broke his camera. He doesn't need to say anything. So what I'm learning to do with the character is I want him still hyper, but I want him hyper in his imagination, not with his words. Yeah. And so I'm removing like 3/4 of his words and just making it about his actions and his imagination. That to me is real Squirrely Joe. Yeah. And so I've also been working on his voice to make him less. I've been studying voice, and people actually are more comfortable with a lower voice than a high-pitched voice, like a shrill voice. So I'm getting rid of a lot of the whoops and the haws and the woo woo, you know, all that stuff. So take a look. This was actually just from summer camp. We filmed it a couple of months ago, and I still have so much to work on, so it's still hard to show. But here we go.
Hi, welcome to Science Time. Today we're going to be doing magic sand. Pour some sand in there. Yeah. Now you have different color sands, and you make different art and sculptures like mountains and seascapes, and it's all kind of what you feel and do it different ways. And Sports Joe, what are you doing? All right, hey kids, don't put sand in your mouth, okay?
Woo!
All right.
I want to do it again.
That's awesome.
But you see, like that's like he's all like a kid, which he's just like totally focused on, like his mind is going 1,000 miles an hour, and he's just so focused he doesn't have the words to say. And before, I would say as I was acting, I would say it as I acted it, and I would go back, he's too much talking, you know?
Right. Also, I mean, you can tell when you did that first one, you could like Squirrely Joe was always looking like this way.
Yeah.
And like he was just like totally static, but it's so much like you guys it's incredible.
Yeah.
We got people that don't even know that you're the voice of Squirrely Joe now.
Right.
Which is great. I like that.
And you know what's funny is I have a harder time doing the voice unless I'm being Squirrely Joe.
Right.
Like if I were to sit here and do the voice, I'm not going to do it. But
Right.
if I were to do it, it would be. I don't think it would be the same.
Right.
Because there's a transformation happens that when you become the character, as it should. You know.
It's very personal to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get out there, create some characters.
Make it
and
personal.
Make it personal. Give your character rules, and do like what Ben said. Get that old chart out, and this chart right here, and
the other one.
you got good and evil. Get that out. You can actually go on Google and find all this stuff, but get that out and create some characters for your kids. And don't make them perfect. Build flaws into your characters, and your kids will love you for it, and they'll love your characters. So that's it for us. We have 2 episodes left. Ben, I'm going to make you go away. Sorry,
Okay,
Ben.
goodbye.
But we have just after create a character, we have time, talent, and treasure, and we have this dollar bill here. But that's it. We don't even need to spend. You know, Ben, just spin it. I'm going to start the music. Just spin it for no reason.
Oh man, what's it gonna land?
Oh, by the way, I don't know, but we're not here this Monday. Spin it again, Ben. Spin it again.
I'm spinning.
We're not here this Monday. I'm on vacation.
Oh look, it stopped.
And we're gonna come back in 2 weeks, and then we'll be back the 3rd week, and that's gonna be it, guys. Until the next season. So until then, stay happy and stay joyful.
Yeah.